Hello everyone and welcome back to the Driven by Us podcast, the show where we spotlight incredible people driving change in motorsports. I'm your host, Debbie Nakakande, and today I'm joined by someone who sits right in the intersection of people, performance and data. He's the founder and director of Wavey Dynamics, a consultancy that specialises in vehicle dynamics, aerodynamics, working across performance engineering, simulation and motorsport strategy. Please welcome Jahee. Welcome to the pod.
Nice to be here, Debs. Thank you for that intro. That was quite a special one.
It was a special one, and I feel like this conversation is a long time coming.
Yeah, it has been. Yeah, I'm glad we managed to make it work.
Yes, very excited for our conversation to come. We connected a couple of weeks ago back at Silverstone. Yeah. How has it been so far? How has life been?
Yeah, things have been okay. It's been busy.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with work and personal. So I'm due a holiday.
Yeah.
Which I'll take shortly.
Where are you thinking of going?
I don't know. My older sister lives in Spain.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah.
And I've got a niece. She's got a daughter.
Oh.
So I always go there a few times a year. I haven't been there this year yet though. So that'll probably be my first stop.
Yeah, I love Spain. Gorgeous weather.
It's a beautiful part of Spain as well.
What part of Spain?
It's called Jahee.
Jahee.
Yeah, it's like between Alicante and Valencia on the coast.
Nice. Okay. Is that beach?
Yeah,
beach
it's like a seaside town. I think even the Spaniards call it like the jewel of Spain.
Wow.
Or something. So it's a really special place, like with the landscape and just everything there. It's really cool.
Well, I hope you have an incredible and a well-deserved break. That's for sure.
Thank you.
I want to dive right in. Okay. I want to start right at the beginning of your career. Yeah. Did you always know that you wanted a career in motorsports?
No, I didn't actually. It's something I only really discovered or decided at uni. At the time, I just liked. So the reason I went to uni, if I take it back further, the reason I did a master's in Automotive Engineering.
Yeah. The
reason I wanted to do that is because I've always liked, since I was young, like how things worked and had like quite scientific curiosity.
Yeah.
And then since I was a teenager, I started liking fast cars. So then I put them together. I was like, I should learn how to design cars.
Fast car.
Yeah. But motorsport wasn't really on the radar until, probably towards the end of my master's.
Yeah. So was that career option always like available for you? Because if I think about even now at universities, we've got motorsport degrees.
Yeah.
But back then, I guess when I was studying, there was a lot more linear paths into motorsports, or even just within any career. You study medicine to become a doctor. You study accountancy to become an accountant. Was that career or that linear path into motorsport always available?
No, motorsport. I feel like motorsport's a little bit under the radar if you're not a motorsport fan or have someone there. I had no idea how to get into motorsport. Absolutely no idea.
So what was the moment that confirmed it to you, that kind of said, this is the career that I want to pursue?
I would say it was Formula Student.
Really?
So we had our third year, my bachelor's year, where we picked like a part of a car that we wanted to design, and I did part of the suspension, an anti-roll bar, and that was for the Formula Student car. And then when I was in my master's year, I had a lot more responsibility there, and I was kind of leading design of chassis and suspension, and it was great. It was a small team. We didn't have that much budget, and we just had to get on with it. And we all just, I'm sure we'll get onto this a bit later, but like we all shared the pain.
Yeah.
And that really creates me personally, I really like that environment where like there's a team of you and you're all working towards a certain goal, like in a difficult goal. so I really enjoyed that process. And then at the actual competition, there was a whole load of things which went wrong with the car.
No way.
Yeah, like we didn't get through scrutineering. The scrutineers wanted us to change something, and yeah, it just created a whole load of problems. Some of the parts that I designed, admittedly, bent.
No.
So then I had to run around trying to fix that and getting stuff welded, and so it was chaos. But we learned so much, and it just really planted that seed of like, yeah, motorsport's wicked.
Yeah.
Like it's quite special.
Do you remember that feeling, that first time your car hit the track? Talk me through some of your emotions and what you were feeling at that moment.
Yeah. So the idea is you do some testing before you get to the event.
Yeah.
We didn't have time to do that.
Oh no.
So we went to the event, and that was the first time the car had run anywhere.
Yeah. Oh no.
And by that time we were just exhausted. So I'm sure there was a bit of pride in there somewhere, but also like, you know, when you're just a bit too like, you're going too fast to stop and acknowledge what's happening.
Yeah.
It's not till after you really realize it.
Yeah, that you stop and think about, oh, I should have done that.
Yeah.
What are some learnings from that you've taken on into your career to date?
That's quite a good question. That's actually a really good question.
Something that you may have experienced in that moment that you're like, do you know what, moving forwards, I will never do X, or this is so important.
There wasn't, if I think technically, there wasn't really anything. I think we did actually a really good job technically.
Yeah.
We just, the reason my parts failed is because they were put into quite an aggressive situation, which shouldn't have normally happened.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of the technical targets, we did a good job. So no huge learnings about what went wrong there.
What about on a people level?
Yeah, on a people level, it just taught me a lot about. I guess it's the first experience where you're just doing something really challenging.
Yeah.
And so the hours you have to put in, and just all the chaos of actually getting it done. I think that was the first time I'd really gone through that.
Yeah.
So that was that was eye opening, I guess, and that kind of sets the scene for how motorsport is for the most part. So
yeah, it is chaos and pressure, but you deliver something so beautiful at the end of it, which is
it's one of my favorite memories of just adult life, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you've done something incredible by not just working in motorsports, but creating a space within it. And I want to talk about Wavey Dynamics. You've created such a clear identity and body of work. How did that all come about?
It's kind of by accident.
Really?
Yeah, I think, so when I finished uni, I went to work for Ford. So I worked in powertrain design in Ford, and that was purely because I didn't, like I was saying, I didn't really know how to get into motorsport. And the ways I tried didn't work at the time, like getting an apprenticeship or summer placement or something like that. So I was working for Ford, and then I decided that it was quite, I got quite bored. Like I won't try and dress it up. I got quite bored. It's like, it's a big corporation.
Yeah.
You're given a tiny bit of responsibility, and is risk averse.
Yeah.
Everything is process driven. So it's like, it's not really somewhere where you can shine.
Yeah.
So I left Ford, and I was like, right, it's time for motorsport. Like, I'm doing it. It's now or never. So I was really trying to. I realized I enjoyed vehicle dynamics and aerodynamics. So I was trying to get a job in either of those two. But the problem I was facing is that I had my experience was automotive.
Okay.
Not motorsport, and they are really quite different. And two, I had been doing powertrain, Now I'm trying to do vehicle dynamics and aero. Yeah, completely different. So I wasn't getting anywhere with my applications, despite having a first class master's.
Period.
So it was quite frustrating, because it's like, well, what did I do all that for?
Yeah.
So after a while, I was like, okay, how can I stand out against? How can I prove to these people that I know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So I started firstly doing a lot of research, and I was writing technical articles and posting them on LinkedIn. And then I started a little website or somewhere to put them. That was my own. And then, yeah, I kind of, after like a month or two of doing that, I was like, oh, this is actually quite, like, I'm enjoying this. I wake up every morning and I choose what I want to do with my day.
Yeah.
And because I love engineering and whatever, it's like, oh, I get to just dive into all these subjects that I'm really interested in, learn, and so it was like, if I can apply this or if I can set myself up so I'm a consultant and people will come to me and say, oh, we've got these problems, we know you can help us with it. Here's this project. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to try that. So I just kept going. And
it worked.
Yeah, it wasn't always easy.
Yeah.
It had a lot of other challenges, but it was really, it's a really rewarding thing.
How did you go about translating your technical skills, your blog articles, into a career and a business, essentially? What are some of like the tactical elements that went about it?
Well, quickly I realized it wasn't just about being an engineer. I had to make people know I was here. So there was like a whole marketing element to it, and branding that I did my best with.
You've done a great job.
Yeah, thanks. So that was a big thing. Then I quickly realized that networking because motorsports is a relatively small industry.
Yeah.
So it's really about who you know. Like I started finding myself in these I started finding myself in like these award dinners or things like that, and I'd be on the table with like really interesting people. Like there's one time I remember I was sitting with, he was like the chief project engineer for that Mercedes AMG 1.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was cool. So that was, I was just having a conversation with him, and I knew that a company called Multimatic had done a lot of the engineering work for Mercedes on that project.
Yeah.
So I said, thinking that's like, if I could get into a position where Mercedes were like, help us with this.
You're clear.
Yeah. So that's the goal, yeah?
Yeah.
So, and knowing that Mercedes went to Multimatic to arrange this, I just asked him, like, how did that project come about? And he was like, I don't know if he said the CEOs or like, someone from that kind of C-suite level of both of those companies. He was like, yeah, they were just having lunch or a drink or something and had this idea. Wow. And it was like, all right, cool. Friendly handshake.
And
yeah.
That was it.
So it's like the importance of who you know is everything. It's key. So, I was developing my technical knowledge, marketing myself so people knew I was here and what I did, and then developing my network.
Yeah. Could you give some tips, maybe like 3 tips for someone who might be new to networking or might not have the confidence? Because I remember when I was starting out in my career, even just the thought of going up to an executive and introducing myself, I couldn't do it. What's some advice or some tips that you could give someone?
I share the pain, to be honest. Like what I quickly realized, it's like a skill. So like the more you do it, the better you feel about it. It's like anything, it's like a muscle. So like the more you exercise, the stronger you get. So one, I guess, is know that the early part's quite uncomfortable.
Yeah.
like putting yourself in front of someone and trying to find something in common.
Yeah.
But that's also the second thing, like finding topics you have in common with someone to start a conversation. That's quite a talent.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a formula for it, but like, where are you? You're at a motorsport show maybe, so immediately you both like racing. So don't ask them like who their favorite Formula One driver is, or or like just speak to them like on a human level.
Yeah.
Because they're all humans. Like it can be easy to think people are like up here and they're like the oracle and they know everything and things like that. But it's not true. They struggle. They're tired. They miss their family.
Yeah.
You know, you've got so many things. Maybe they exercise. Maybe you share a sport in common. That, you know, you just got to chat. And the third thing I would say is just like you belong there. There's no reason you shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You might feel like you're a bit out of place. That's how I felt at first. It's like, well, what am I doing amongst these people? You know, these people that have 30 years of experience and they've done, you know, Formula One and Le Mans and all these things that you really aspire to do. And then, like, at the time, here I was, I just decided I like motorsport a few months ago.
Yeah.
You know, I've never worked on any real motorsport projects. I'm just here trying to make it happen. So you can feel a bit out of place. But yeah.
Imposter syndrome. I think that's something that I don't think you ever get over imposter syndrome. Do you?
I don't know. I would like to think so. Yeah, I don't know. I think you do.
Yeah.
I think you do. I think it's about your mindset and trying to just get hold of it. Yeah, and feel like I think it's about how you elevate the people around you. Incorrectly, probably.
Yeah.
Because of like I just said, like they're all just human at the end of the day. But you can think like they're so far ahead of you in their career and they've seen it all and done it all and they know it all. But it's actually not the case.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's once you just realize that they're still learning, they're still making mistakes, they still get upset, they still turn up to work tired, or you know sometimes they don't want to be there. Like, yeah, people are just people. So I think as long as you're honest about, like, you know, you don't try and pretend you're something you're not, then people just have realistic expectations of where you are, and then you don't have to feel like you're an imposter. Yeah,
that's really good advice. Were there any moments on your journey where you felt self-doubt, or I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to do this task or get into this position that I've always wanted to or always dreamed of?
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think self-doubt. I don't think I have self. I want to be careful when I say this, but I don't think self-doubt is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Because I never doubt my ability.
Absolutely.
I always know that I'll be able to get something done. But I think my problem is I put so much expectation on myself. So I expect to, like, I expect to know stuff, even when that's probably not a realistic expectation, because I've never done it before. I've never been in that situation, and I expect myself to know, and then I put a lot of pressure on myself if I don't quite, if I don't know it or I make a mistake. And I think that's probably the hardest thing I go through.
Yeah.
Because then in your mind, you're kind of, you can work yourself up quite easily to,
absolutely.
Yeah, to think quite negatively.
Yeah.
And then you just can get a bit overwhelmed.
And I feel like you then don't celebrate or recognize the things that you do know. And
no,
the
exactly.
things that you are able to do. I suffer with the same thing.
Yeah, me too.
Me high too. Expectations of myself. I don't understand something in that moment. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like you can win something, and then because you think that you're critical of what you did on the way to winning it, you
Yeah.
kind of like, yeah, but you know,
Why didn't I do X, Y, and Z? But celebrating the wins is actually so important.
yeah,
And that mindset shift is so important. I think that you develop more as you get further in your career, because I think when you're younger, you can be a little bit more
yeah,
critical of yourself.
yeah, definitely. It's something I acknowledge, and I'm trying to move past.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of situations where like I won't allow myself to celebrate, because it's like, well,
No.
you know, I didn't do that as well as I wanted to, or I didn't contribute to that as much as I should have, or like whatever. But every time I do my absolute best.
Yeah.
And if there's a good result from that, then yeah, you got to celebrate it, right? Otherwise, what we doing it for?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's definitely a challenge.
I want to talk about some of your experiences out on track. Namely, I saw your post. You went to Nürburgring, 24 hours. That was probably one of the most intense endurance races ever, like on the calendar.
Yeah.
What was your role over the weekend?
So I was. It was a bit of a mixed bag. So I was working with a team who I don't usually work with. So that was through a company called One Group, which I'm involved with. Maybe we'll talk about that a bit. So I was working with a team. They were on a bit of a mission. First time racing in Europe, really, at a high level championship.
Wow.
They're Chinese. So there was a lot of things that were new to them, and I had a bit of experience with. So it was general kind of, I'd call it trackside operations, like managing the tire ovens and just, fueling and all sorts of little things, some strategy stuff, pit stops, all that kind of stuff, and also data.
Wow. What were your expectations going into an event like that versus the reality? So going in, you're probably thinking all these things versus what the actual reality of the situation was like.
So back to what we were saying before about pressure.
Yeah.
I was put a lot of pressure on myself.
Yeah.
Trying to think of every scenario and make sure I'm prepared for it and all that kind of stuff. So that was that was an interesting time. None of them came up.
So that time worrying about it didn't.
Yeah. But my expectations, I don't know, because it was my first 24-hour race.
Yeah.
So I kind of didn't know what to expect. I just knew it was going to be a rough time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it matched my expectations. So I'd say it was a tough week.
When you're in that position where sleep is minimal, you might not be eating enough or getting your nutrients.
Yeah.
How do you make sure that you're still performing at your peak?
So yeah, sleep is sometimes not in your control. Like I was exhausted before I even left England, and I had a 6 a.m. start that morning. I had to drive to Germany, so it was like a 12-hour. And then you get to the track and everyone's setting up, so you get involved. So that was like a 16 hour day, like day one. Then so sleep's not always in your control. Food, I'm vegetarian, so trackside, a lot of the time when you're racing in Europe is really difficult to get like a balanced meal. You just end up eating carbs,
chips,
or like pastas, and you're missing protein and vitamins and whatever. So that's kind of not in your control. Water is in your control a lot of the time. So I always make sure that I'm drinking as much water, because if you're dehydrated on top of that, it just adds. So, I think the main thing out of the things you need, like essentials of living, water is probably the main thing you can control.
Number one priority.
Yeah.
Another wild one to add to your calendar is the Macau GP.
Yeah.
narrow streets, elevation changes, and they're a mix of F3 cars, GT, and bikes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the race, what are your thoughts on your experience, both as an engineer and a fan?
Macau's really special.
Yeah.
Like, there have been certain times in my career, certainly recently, where it's kind of like you're trackside and you look around, it's like I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Macau was definitely one of those moments. Macau, I feel like the easiest way to describe it to people who aren't really in motorsport is it's like the Champions League. So you get like all of the best drivers in the world. They're all at Macau, and it's like if you win it, you get a lot of credit. Like it's quite a big thing. There's lots of support from manufacturers, and it brings in teams from all over the world. So yeah, Macau is really special. And sorry, what was the question?
What are your thoughts on it, both as an engineer and as a fan?
As an engineer, so I was doing data and performance for Luca Engsler. That was another bit of work through one group, and as a data engineer, the rule book, the sporting regulations for Macau are quite different.
In what way?
In terms of tyre management, so there was a minimum tyre pressure, and no tyre ovens. So that's quite new for the work I've done. There's also I forget what they called them. It wasn't formation laps, but you could basically do two. You had time for 2 laps before the race.
Yeah.
So you do 1 lap, go through the pits, do another lap before you line up on the grid. Reconnaissance laps, I think they're called them.
Is that to get heat into the tyres?
Yeah, it's for whatever you want, but that would be the main use of it. So those were new things, and just the format leading up to the practice sessions and the qualifying and all that kind of stuff is quite it was quite unique. So that was an interesting challenge. Hot and humid because it's by Hong Kong, so it's kind of tropical climate. As an engineer and as a fan, as a fan, one thing I noticed is that all the liveries on the cars were quite unique because they've got like the Eastern influence, so Chinese brands on the cars and artwork and Japanese artwork on the Japanese cars. So everything looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
The paddock's quite a different format. You have like a pre-grid, which is interesting as an engineer, as a fan, because it's open. I don't know if you need special tickets, but it's open to the public for the most part.
Yeah.
So your car goes to the pre-grid before going out onto the track for whatever session, and then there's people around, and it's quite good access as a fan. I think fans probably would enjoy it.
Yeah, and good atmosphere, I'm assuming as well.
Yeah, for sure.
As a data engineer, you're processing so much data, so much insights going into a weekend and during the race. What are some of the key insights that you're looking for?
I guess that depends if you have telemetry or not. So Macau, we had telemetry, which was cool.
Yeah.
So you're getting whatever you want really, but just information from the car. So vitals, like temperatures and pressures of oils and waters and whatever else. So you're checking those a lot to make sure that everything's cool and there's not something about to fail. Tire pressures. So you're certainly in the session the sessions leading up to a race, you're looking at how the tire pressures develop and if they're where you need them to be. If you've got puncture, which we did have at some point. So I guess those are the main things. And then out of session, like when the session's finished, when you get all the data from the car and you're kind of at desk with a laptop, you're also trying to look at, depending on how many drivers you got, you might overlay your driver's laps to kind of have a look at if one driver's faster, where's the other one losing time and that kind of thing. Or we were lucky at sometimes because we had reference laps from
previous years or something.
Well, not just previous years, but actually because we were using a Lamborghini Huracan GT3, and Lamborghini would share data from all the drivers, like amongst all the Lamborghini teams.
Wow.
You don't always get that. So yeah, it's like looking at the fastest Lamborghini driver and looking at your driver or drivers and that kind of thing. But then also, there's the performance element, which is looking at your just looking at very, you could call them key performance indicators. So just looking at all of those, and if you made a setup change, can you see that in the data? Did it do what you wanted it to? You can use that as a bit of a health check. Like if a suspension component's broken, you might be getting more roll at one axle than you'd expect, and things like that. How the differential's working, more or less preload on a differential, all that kind of stuff. When you've got a bit more space and there's not a session going on, you can sit and have a look, and that's really where a lot of the time is gone.
You mentioned something that is really, has completely blown my mind, and that is that in some instances you might not have telemetry.
Yeah.
What on earth do you do in that situation? Like what would you look for as an engineer?
You just send it. There's nothing you can do.
Wow.
If the car fails, then it fails.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are there any decisions that you'd make purely based on like emotion, or just saying, oh, I feel like it could be X, why don't we try this? Is it more of like a creative process or an experimentation that happens in that scenario?
Yeah, that's an interesting one actually, because as engineers we shouldn't be working based on feeling and emotion.
Wow.
What really?
Oh yeah.
It's got to be based in science, yeah. So that's the whole thing. But then with experience comes the ability to have like a feeling.
Yeah.
So like the more times you've been in a certain situation, you can look back to how you dealt with it in the past, or even just go with your gut, because you've got a bit more data behind that gut feeling. But yeah, you should always try and work from science.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is that part takes a long time.
Yeah.
So
I can't imagine being in a situation where you don't have data.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know to just send the car out on track and just see what happens.
Yeah, you have so you in those circumstances you get like live timing.
Okay, yeah.
So you still get like, sector timing and sector speeds and lap times obviously and that kind of thing. So that allows you to, like, that's data in some way.
Yeah.
So that allows you to speak with your driver and advise them, you're getting caught or you need to push a bit harder. You can understand when other people have pitted to make decisions on strategy based on that. You got weather data, so that can play into it. There's been some times where Barcelona last year with the GT World Challenge, that was an interesting one. So was Macau actually. So that you still get data, you just don't get anything from the car directly.
Okay, that's quite an interesting situation to be in.
The driver has limited data, on their display,
The screens,
and then he can obviously, or she can radio that in, and you might be able to make some decisions on that. But
wow, that's a very interesting, I guess, scenario to be in. One that I don't know if I would do well.
No, it's okay. It's okay. That's the most common thing I'd say. Is not a lot of like Formula One and World Endurance I don't know. I've not worked in World Endurance Championship, but I would assume they have telemetry. But in some of the lower ones, it's just cost, isn't it? It's a lot more cost, and then you'd get into situations where some teams can afford it and others can't. So
that gives them that advantage.
I would say most racing doesn't have telemetry. And just to be clear for everyone else, telemetry is where you're sending wirelessly from the car to the pits. You'll always have data, so when the car's in, you can kind of take a stick or plug your laptop in and get what's happened retrospectively, but you just can't see it live
in the moment.
Yeah.
Wow. I actually remember seeing that your driver crashed at Macau, and that must have been such a tough moment from your side of the pit wall and from the driver. How do you deal with something like that emotionally and professionally?
Yeah, it was quite it was a bit worrying, to be honest, because it was a massive crash. He was what speed would he be doing? Maybe 130 miles an hour, something like that. And the car was destroyed, and it's like you see it on the broadcast that there's been a crash, and it's like, wow, who's that? That looks really bad. Then you see like a part of the car, and it's like, oh, hold on a minute.
That's our part.
Yeah, and so you're trying to radio the driver, you don't get a response. Oh. So it's like, so there's some tense moments, and then you might get an update from like race control or something, because the marshals have spoken to the driver or whatever. But those moments, it's quite firstly you're worried for the driver and how they are, but then it's the end of the weekend in some cases, so it's like, can we fix it or can we not? We couldn't at Macau. Car was quite destroyed, so that was the end of that. That was in qualifying. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I can imagine from both a driver perspective and a team perspective, that was a huge
he straight to hospital for him, and he was quite badly injured, so we saw him again. Did they keep him overnight? Maybe they kept him overnight, or saw him late that night or the next morning or something like that.
So there are moments where, I'm guessing in this instance, that you aren't always successful. What does success look or mean to you now, and has that evolved over your career? Because you can't always get the win.
Yeah.
And that's obviously immediate success, but
yeah.
I wonder if it's changed or evolved for you over the years.
Yeah, I reckon it has.
Can you break down what success looked like for you, maybe early in your career versus now?
Yeah, success earlier when I would have first started was getting to a certain level, and winning as well. I think that was probably how I would have measured success. But now, I still have those goals. Like, I still want to win. I still want to work at the highest level. But I'm more conscious of enjoying the journey, and not like I would say I'm quite resilient. And if I set myself a goal, like I'm all in.
Yeah.
And sometimes other things can suffer. Like, like a couple of years ago, I would say an average day for me could be like a 12-hour day.
Wow.
So that takes a lot out of you, and you have to sacrifice other parts. I'm probably less willing to do that these days. Like friends and family and enjoying yourself, because everything can feel quite heavy when you're that focused and it absorbed into something. I definitely remember a time where I was like, I don't feel like I've laughed for quite a while. Yeah, like, like real belly laughs.
Yeah.
Even still, I think that sometimes. But so I wouldn't say success at all costs, because like you got to look at like life holistically as well, and the bigger picture of life.
Yeah.
So that's come over the years.
Yeah, enjoy the moments. And what are some of the things that you enjoy doing now outside or like in your spare time?
I still exercise a lot.
Yeah.
So like one of the things I'm really intentional with is like in engineering and motorsport, you spend so much time like in here and learning stuff and figuring stuff out, solving problems and like flexing your mental muscles. But then we stop at a certain point learning physically.
Yeah.
You know, like I feel like there's a time when young adults or kids are starting to turn into adults where you're discouraged from like climbing on the wall or climbing that tree and that kind of stuff. So I'm intentional with making sure I still train. So I still train a lot. I started kickboxing this year, which is cool.
Oh, I love.
Yeah. I've done gymnastics for a few years recently, capoeira for a few years. I started running about a year ago, so I run every week now.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of the things on my list is I want to learn to play the saxophone.
Really?
Yeah.
Why the saxophone?
I don't know. A few years ago, I got really into jazz.
Yeah.
So I think like I never learned to play an instrument when I was younger, and I think the sax is like the sax really touches me quite deeply.
Yeah.
Like it's an instrument where if someone's playing the sax in the right way, like it can make me cry.
Oh wow.
So I think it's such a great way to be able to express yourself through an instrument. Like if you're feeling happy, sad, tired, like if you're energetic, if you're not so energetic, you can communicate that through a saxophone, and people hear it. Like that's quite like
that's
that's
cool.
quite a cool thing. So yeah, it's like a communication, and I want to learn to play the sax. So that's on my list. But yeah, exercise, travel. I like to travel, although I haven't been doing as much as I wanted to recently.
I love that.
Yeah.
Saxophone. I'm looking forward to hearing you play the sax.
Yeah. yeah.
I'm going to take a little bit of a pivot, kind of going back, or I guess forward thinking, like some personal reflection. Was there ever a time where you thought, oh, do you know what? I'm not supposed to be here, you know? And how did you deal with that feeling?
Never really that I wasn't supposed to be there. So, but there's a time that came to mind. So I feel like it was about 2000. It can't have been 2018. 2020 maybe, like around that kind of time, where I was invited to, so there's a group called the MIA, the Motorsport Industry Association, and their members are like a lot of Formula One teams and like higher profile suppliers and organizations that work within motorsport. They have something called the School of Race Engineering, and I was asked to teach there one time. And then, so it was still fairly early in my motorsport journey. So it was nice to be asked. But then I looked at the other tutors for that year and I was like, oh my days. There was some really experienced and knowledgeable people. And I was like, how am I supposed to stand up next to these guys and teach? You know,
people.
That felt really intimidating. Some of those guys are my friends now, which is cool. But how did I deal with that? I think it's just about convincing yourself that, like, why should you not be there?
Yeah. It's
like, okay, do I actually know what I'm about to be talking about? The answer is yes. Do I enjoy teaching and connecting with kids? Yes. Well, I say kids, they're all quite old. Yeah, I think it's just there's an initial emotional reaction, and then it's like, oh, but is it justified? Like, why do I feel like that? And is it legitimate? Like, is there weight behind that feeling? And a lot of the time, I'd say there probably isn't. It's just like it's the pressure you put on yourself and the expectation you put on other people. So, yeah, I think you just got to have a word, because there's nowhere that we don't belong.
That's true.
If we're being honest with ourselves, you know, and genuine to our hearts, there's nowhere we shouldn't be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, initiatives and organizations like Driven by Us are doing such a great job at just banging down those doors to create opportunities for young people who come from diverse backgrounds to have and be a voice in the room. What are your thoughts on like the next 5 years of motorsports? How do you think it's going to evolve, and what role would you like to play in that evolution?
I think, motorsport's definitely going through a bit of a transition.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people that I don't know if it's because I'm spending more time in settings through Driven by Us where I can meet those people, or like it's genuinely like a new thing, but just people from all different walks of life that maybe haven't considered it before now like finding a place in motorsport.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are young and going through education still. So when they graduate and get into the space, it's going to look quite different.
I hope so.
And everyone wins, I think, from that. So that's one thing. Otherwise, motorsport kind of goes through like it's a bit of a glory time, I'd say, at the moment with the Hypercar series with IMSA and WEC, and that's quite special. So it's kind of like it's peaks and troughs, and so there'll be another trough maybe in the future, but it will always keep moving forward and recover, I think.
Do you think over the next 5 years you'll still continue to teach and write? Is that something that you'll always want to do, or you have a passion for doing?
Yeah, I do. I really enjoy writing. So I write technical articles still, not less for myself, but more for a magazine, an engineering magazine in motorsport. I do enjoy teaching. So like I've been invited to give talks at unis a few times, seminars and things like that, and also kind of inspiration, like STEM inspiration days, and I do really enjoy those. It's sometimes difficult to find time because to balance that with like your main mission in life, I suppose, and the amount of energy and time you pour into that, trying to balance that with then doing other things to help others. It's not something that happens by mistake. You've got to really like make it happen. So I do want to continue to do that, but also just like with Driven by Us, just having conversations with people who are in the same place I was at maybe 5 or 10 years ago or whatever, and passing down some of the experience and advice that I might be able to give them. I do really enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to continue.
What is the main mission? What's the end goal for you?
The main goal is to work at the highest levels of motorsport.
Yes.
Trackside, but also because it's not only trackside I work, I also do design and development. So also to have involvement in some of the coolest and highest level projects that are going on in there.
Yeah.
I've always said, like, if I could describe what I ultimately want to do, is to like design a race car, like a real serious level race car, and have hand in like the design and then the manufacture and then race it. Wow. Like as a race engineer. So to go through that whole pipeline, I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
That's if I could summarize my ambitions in the medium term. That's what I would describe.
What type of car would you design?
Well, it'd have to be like, so the hypercar class is new, yeah.
Yeah.
And I find myself disappointed that I didn't get the opportunity to get
involved.
Yeah, so that's the type of car. Like, GT cars is cool, but something you can start with like a blank sheet. Because GT3 is like you take a road car and then you modify it, and so there's a lot to it, and that's a really interesting process. But I think starting with a blank sheet where you can just define everything within the regulations, that's yeah.
Well, you never know.
And you got a budget, so you're not like, oh, I would love to do that, but it's too expensive.
Yeah.
Within reason.
So you've got fixed requirements that you have to meet.
Yeah.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I look forward to getting involved on your data team for that.
Yeah, it will happen. It will happen.
I have a question for you that was left from the previous guest.
Yeah.
And that is, if you were a race engineer and your driver had a really bad race, what is the first sentence you will say to them after the race?
So if they're feeling upset, then I think your role is emotional support.
Absolutely.
Because it's quite an interesting relationship, the race engineer and the driver, because you're ultimately responsible for the car that they get to drive. Sorry. So yeah, there's like it's quite a complicated and in-depth relationship. So yeah, in times like that, you have to kind of support them emotionally, like a big brother or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, to console them, and it's not about sugarcoating as such. If they messed up, then I'm sure they know that.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help to like, yeah, that was
labor the point.
Should have done that differently. So yeah, I think it's just all right. It happened. So how are we both gonna make sure it doesn't happen again?
Yeah.
Let's work towards that. Yeah. So look at your data and look at the video and yeah, sleep on it.
Yeah.
Come back tomorrow when you've got a cool head and we'll figure it out.
Sounds like motorsports. I guess when you're out on track, you're constantly learning. I guess on track and off track, which I think is,
yeah,
you have to have a growth mindset from what I hear. Because I don't know, if it was me in a car and I've crashed it for, I don't know if I'll be back on track for a while.
Yeah.
What is a question that you would leave for the next guest?
Oh, do I know who the next guest is?
No.
No idea.
No.
Do they work in motorsport?
I have to now think. Does the next guest? Yeah, they'll have some. Yeah, they have some affiliation to motorsports. It might not be technical, or it might be a business executive or something.
A question for them.
Yeah, it could be anything.
What keeps the fire alive?
That's a good question.
In you, in motorsport. What about motorsport makes you wake up every day and want to come to work and do cool stuff?
That's a good question. Do you have an answer to that question yourself?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's quite a long one.
Go on. Go on.
Well, for me, motorsport is really special because I have a scientific mind. It's basically a big science experiment. Mm-hmm. Like when this is how I think of like practice sessions and things like that. You're performing an experiment to gather data in order to steer a qualifying session or a race or whatever. So yeah, it's like you love cars, you love science, you love racing. So I've lost my train of thought there. Where was I going with that? Yeah, so you love cars, you love science, you love racing, and you're basically getting to design an experiment, and everyone else in the team helps you to conduct that experiment, with the mechanics preparing the car, the team managers making sure everything is in place to make sure everyone can perform at their best. And you execute the experiment and you learn, and you have to, it's motorsport's so broad. It's like you need to understand the tires. So you've got like chemical engineering in there and viscoelasticity, and you've got the engine. You've got, so it's combustion, it's all that kind of stuff. Then you've got you know, you've got to make sure the driver's comfortable. So there's like a human element and subjective, you know, how they perceive what the car's doing. You've got aerodynamics, so you're playing with wing angles and ride heights to get what you want. So you're controlling all these things, and the better you do that, the better your event goes.
Yeah.
You know, the better if you can do science better than your competition, then, you know, yeah, that's a big advantage. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's one of the main things about motorsport. It touches all the bases. Teamwork, science, personal. When I was at Nürburgring, staying up for 40 hours, like how do you get through a 40-hour shift?
Yeah.
When you're sitting at your station in front of your laptop and you're kind of like, it's 3 a.m, and yeah, this is something we didn't talk about, but like, so when you're just extremely tired, and this was new to me, and your whole body's like overstimulated, full of adrenaline and cortisol and that kind of thing, some strange stuff starts to happen. Like, I had a headache.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you get headaches, whatever. But then also like the nausea. I felt so nauseous. And so we have tire ovens at the Nürburgring. So, and it's also quite unique because you share a garage. So we had 5 cars in one garage, 5 separate teams. Yeah. So there's a lot of activity. So you've got constant noise. Constantly there's people around you. And so they'd bring out a stack of tires from our oven, like any one of the teams would. So it was happening quite often. And you just get this like smell of like hot rubber.
Oh.
And you'd feel the heat radiation as they passed you. And it was like, there were several times where it was like, like, you know, like I felt like I was gonna throw up.
Oh my God.
Then you kind of even had the shakes at one point and I looked at the clock, there's 14 hours left. This is like 2 a.m. or something. And I was like, oh, it's like, how am I going to get through this?
Oh my goodness.
But you, so there's that element. And because I'm like, I think the saying is like a glutton for punishment. Yeah. I like to push myself. I don't like to punish myself, but I like to like push myself really to the limit in a lot of stuff I do. So I get to do that in motorsport too. I couldn't imagine working anywhere else really.
Yeah. If you were to have another career that wasn't motorsport, what would you do?
Well, because I got into motorsport quite late, or decided I wanted to do motorsport quite late. I wanted to, before that, the 2 things that I really considered were being a pilot.
Wow.
Like a airline pilot.
Yeah.
I was really into that when I was about 16, 14, 16, stuff like that. Or because I've always been into exercise and stuff, like exercise physiology, something like that. So both quite sciencey in some ways. I think it would be something like that. Yeah.
That's so interesting. What life would have been like if you had not
ended
up in motorsport.
But then I also feel like in some settings, like I would enjoy being a farmer or something.
That was true.
Like, like just working the earth.
Yeah.
Like no computers, no technology, just working the earth. Not like a livestock farmer, but like agriculture.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Which is like the complete opposite to what you do now.
I think at some point in life, when I'm a bit older, I'll have like a huge garden.
Yeah.
And I'll grow my own stuff.
Fruit, veg.
Yeah, definitely.
Little chickens.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. I think I will probably never leave motorsport entirely, but that's maybe slow down the motorsport once I've done all the things that I set out to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe some of that would be cool.
Yeah. Well, we wish you all the best of luck. I can't wait to continue to follow your journey. I hope you continue to post on Instagram and showcase.
Yeah, I need to do more of that.
Because that was one of the main reasons why, I guess when I was, getting interested in motorsports, I found your page and I followed it and I was like, wow, this is really cool because you break down all these technical concepts into something that's digestible for someone like me who doesn't understand this terminology.
Yeah.
And it's cool that we get to have this. It's a full circle moment because we get to have this conversation. So I hope you continue to post and share your journey with the world.
Yeah, I need to do more of that. I do need to do more.
Yes, you do.
As you've reminded me.
On a podcast, so accountability.
Yeah, I've got so much stuff on my phone that I should, stuff from Macau and the Nürburgring and GT World Challenge and whatever.
Well, before this podcast goes out, we want at least a couple of posts out there.
I'll do my best.
Thank you so much for having this conversation. For those who are listening at home, please follow Jahee on Instagram, Wavey Dynamics.
Yeah, and to finish off, always remember you've got a place there, and just follow your heart, follow your dreams, get in touch, and if you need any advice or however I can help, I'll do my best.
Give them a follow, give us a follow, the Driven by Us podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode.